being willing to do what it takes to heal. Now, that's an entirely different story. Because, of course, healing is the process of letting go of resistance. It's not letting go of whatever you don't like. And healing for humans are basically, I don't like this, so it obviously needs healing. I want to make it go away. So I can stay just the way I am because, I'm good enough the way I am. So this should go away. This is why we want to heal. We want to heal and basically take away whatever the universe tells us that we don't like. The question is, are you willing to heal? And I would like you to ask that question to yourself as we move through the teachings for tonight. Because you will see that maybe you are, maybe you aren't. Now, when we talk about flow, what is that exactly? Because as I have explained, in the true vertical, there is no movement because it's just pure isness. So the closer we can come is the principle of mathematics, which has no movement. But when you look at the horizontal realities, which is basically all universes, all manifested existence, every time something happens, everything else will have to calibrate. Right? So when you learn something new in a variety that hasn't existed before, that changes everything. And when I mean everything, I mean everything. Absolutely every particle in existence will have to recalibrate and re-understand itself based on that. And when you can then understand it's not just you, but everybody else. Every life form, every particle, every chemical, not just on this planet, but every single coordinate in the physical universe. And then on top of that, you have unlimited numbers of dimensions where the same thing is happening. So flow is basically the movement of information. Everything recalibrating itself. That is how movement and it's like spiritual energy happens. Normally in our life, when we experience flow, when we start in the horizontal, it's as the result of we having changed something. We have learned something. We have dissolved a blockage. We've interacted with life. We have learned, we've changed, and then we're more open. And then the flow is basically your reality changing. And the flow is the movement of everything recalibrating. And that is how we normally experience it. This is also why when we don't learn, when we don't grow, there is no flow. Nothing. Right? And often when we also have come to a place in our process where things work, all of a sudden we feel dead because it is working. We're able to shuffle matter around with great precision and with very little resistance. But we're not growing. Growing is change. And growing is healing. How to start with a flow. Often in our practices, we can have the idea that when you start with a flow, oh, I open myself and there's so much flow. But it can't go anywhere because you're blocked. Right? If your capacity is like a, small glass, you can't contain a gallon no matter how much you try. It's a waste. You can't fit it, you can't channel it. It's always down to your capacity, and your capacity is determined by your horizontal existence because that's the vessel. That's the glass. That's the space within the glass. That is your achieved level of consciousness in horizontal existence. So your level of expansion in the horizontal realities basically tells you how big your glass is and how much flow you can allow. But that only applies when you start with yourself as a horizontal being. Because spiritually, of course, you're not limited by that. This is why the spiritual awakening into the vertical is such a great shift. Everything changes and nothing matters. And to achieve that, you have to let go of everything. When we talk about letting go of stuff, it's easy to let go of what you don't like, right? And you keep what you like. Often, it's a matter of doing the opposite. Have you ever thought about that? Where you still have got something to learn, that's where it hurts. Where you have not achieved balance. Where you still got a job to do. What we like is what we already have learned, which is repetition, which means that we can create predictability, safety, comfort, which means no growth. So often we let go of the wrong things. We let go of what kills us spiritually, brings us back to sleep. And we try very hard to let go of everything that can potentially heal us, everything that can potentially bring growth and expansion. So humans should not be trusted when it comes to letting go. That's a conclusion. But, just this principle in itself, for many people because it's so ingrained in us that if we don't like something, it's obviously harmful. It's not. We are harmful. Remember, it's always us doing something to life. It's not life doing something to us. It's always us, because existence is always in harmony with what is. And then it's us trying to figure out how to negotiate ourselves and what we can get away with, and how we can keep whatever we want, and we scream and yell and all that. But over time, we start moving into harmony. So, if you let go of everything you like and keep everything you dislike, that's a better way of achieving healing. Because often as you say, well, I know what I need. You don't. You know what you need in order to sleep, to be comfortable, to not be confronted, to not work on your resistance. Because you want to create the story that I'm not in resistance. The world is not ready for me. My light is so bright that everybody reacts. We want that story, right? It's hardly ever the case. It's the opposite.